Have idea about pandas or worked before in pandas? Do anyone have ideas about pandas or have worked in pandas previously? Okay. So pandas is kind of a data analysis tool which used to perform data analysis on the structured data. So how we use Excel to perform certain analysis in the tabular data. Similar to that, with help of Python, we can able to do data analysis. Okay. So I'm going to use Kaggle to perform this operation. You can also similarly what I'm doing. I just clicked on it and created. You can create your Kaggle notebook and perform this. So before getting started, okay. So pandas is one of the most popular library in the Python. Okay, so if you take data analysis or data scientist or AI into machine learning, they mostly use pandas. Okay, to perform data analysis in the tabular data. When it goes to image data and video data, the process goes differently. But in case of tabular data means where the data can be represented in a table. So most of the data will be in table. Certain forms it will be image or video. So in those cases, pandas can be used. Okay, so it is largely used. Okay, so pandas was normally created on 2008 something. Okay, for purely for performing data analysis, and it usually runs on top on NumPy actually. So there is another library called NumPy. On top of it, actually this runs, and this is an open source tool, which similar to other languages like R and MATLAB. Pandas also perform better than that. Similarly, we have certain things in R actually. R is also a programming language. Which used to perform things on data analysis. It's we call that purely for data analysis. Okay, and so there are only two main components in pandas. One is called as series, and then another is called as data frame. Okay, only these two things need to be known when starting pandas. Before that, to explain, it is built on top of NumPy. Okay, so NumPy is like a library on top on that pandas got developed. Okay, so NumPy part I will explain later when if the time permits. But assume like NumPy is an library, pandas is stacked on top of it. Okay. This is enough actually. So you just need to understand two things. One is series and another one is a data frame. Okay. So series is nothing but a value will be mapped with an index that is called as a series. So similarly, when we write an array, assume there is an index is associated with it. It is an 1D actually. 1D means a list which contains values. Along with that, there is an index is combined with it. Okay, this is usually called as a series. So when we combine both multiple series, assume there is a 2D, that is called as a data frame. Okay, data frame will have a row and a column will be there. Okay, so which will have compress of an assume like an array, not an array, assume a matrix. So matrix is a representation of vectors, right? So vectors can be defined in a data frame where it will have the row and column values. So similarly, series is nothing but an only array which have an index associated with it. If you combine multiple series, that is represented in the form of data frame. So this is like a base level of pandas. Okay, pandas is all about series and data frame. Okay, so I will share this cheat sheet also. So it will have most of the things in the pandas data frame which you can use to clear the interviews most of the time. So if you know whatever present in this cheat sheet, that would be enough to work with pandas. Okay. So even though I will cover certain part of that, and if I miss any part of things in here, you can able to use this cheat sheet and prepare for other things. Okay. So here you can use Kaggle or Colab or your local notebook. It's up to you. Since I need to import some data, so I'm using Colab here. Okay. So for example, this is my notebook. Will so if you by default you run it, this code will be already there. But to import pandas, you have to use import pandas as PD. So it is purely to perform data analysis. Pandas is there, and NumPy is mostly used in advanced computations. Okay, whenever you want to perform some linear algebraic operations or something in the similar line, NumPy can be used. Okay, so to add a data in the notebook, you have to click on this add input. So we know about the Titanic movie, right? So there is one data set with respect to it. So I will add that data. So just search as Titanic here. Okay, so here you will have something called Titanic machine learning problem. Just click on this plus icon. So once you click on this plus icon, it will get enabled. So post enable, you can able to see the data here. Okay. So now what we should do, if you ran this code, you would able to see the data which is used. What are the data present in this path? Okay. So we are interested in the train data. So what we will do, we will start with the basic importing of the data. So to import the data in pandas, so what we should do, we should use the read underscore CSV function. So before that, I will explain basic indexing things in pandas. So to create a pandas data frame, so data frame can be created in multiple ways. One way of creating is in the form of dictionary. Okay, so we need to create a dictionary and have a key and a value. Okay, and create another dictionary key and a value, and you can put the numbers here inside it. So all the array inside the key value pair should be in equal length. Then only data frame can be created. Okay, so you cannot create an unequal values, right? So that's why all this value should be equal. So dictionary will get created. For example, if I put 40 here, dictionary will get created, but data frame will not be get created. So to create a data frame, what we should do, we have to give pd dot data fs caps frame and call this dictionary inside it. So it will throw an error saying all arrays must be equal same length. That means like we have two here in one column, and we have 40 in another column. Like there is an extra value, right? So if you run this, the data frame get created here. Okay, this is the basic way of creating a data frame. So this is how we can create an empty data frame. So now what we will see, so we will see how to load a data frame. Okay. So to load a data frame, what we can do, pandas has a function which is called as read underscore CSV. Okay. So for example, I need to look into this train.csv, what is present inside it. Okay. So for example, I'm creating a variable called df. Df means data frame. Okay. So pd dot read underscore CSV, then my file path. Then if I see this, so if you can see like we got the data. Okay, this is a Titanic data actually. This is the real Titanic data. So we know like people traveled over the ship, right? So like so here passenger ID defines the ticket ID. So totally 891 people traveled, and the survived means whether they are alive or not after the issue. So P class means it is related to some class actually, like how we have in train AC 3 tier, 2 tier. Then name and sex of them, then age of them, and these things are related to certain things. The ticket is, I guess, fare. Ticket medium. Then this is fare, and the cabin where they stuck. Embarked means this also I don't know. We can check in the data description. For example, this data is there. We don't know what this data is about, right? You can click on this data set, and if you come down, they might provide the data set description somewhere. Yes, be there. So here it is there. Okay. So for example, survival means zero means no, one means one. So ticket class, P class means ticket class, whether it is first class, second class, or third class. SIBSP means is there any siblings traveled? Path means is there like number of parents or children aboard the Titanic who been there. And ticket is the ticket number, and fare is passenger fare, and cabin is which thing they belong to. Embark means which part they belong to. I guess I'm not sure what this belongs, but I guess that one. Okay, like this way we have a data set and the value associated with that, right? There it says there are totally 891 rows and 12 columns. Okay, so columns means which are like straight, okay, vertically. So then rows means these are the rows. So all these are rows, and the columns means which is like straight big. Okay, so this is a row, this is a column, which is like similar to graph, normal thing only. So next is like if I want to, there are like 891 rows in the data, right? But most of the time, I just need to quickly see what is the value present in the data. So this is my data variable I have created. Okay, to check like the what it is there in general. If you use head as a keyword, okay, it will just return the top 5 values. Okay, you can see the first. Uh, 5 rows in the data frame normally if I use head. Okay, so for example, if I just need to see the 10 rows, you can pass the value as 10 here. It will return the first 10 rows. Always assume the index starts from the 0, which is similar to the list what we have seen. Okay, so here also the index starts from 0. This way we can able to see the head of it. So in case I want to look into somewhere in the end of the data frame, right? What we can do, head is means top, right? The opposite of head is directly tail. Okay, so if you give tail here, so it will return me the last the 10 rows of the data frame. Okay, so this way we can able to quickly check it. And other thing is like how do I know like how many rows are there present in the entire data frame? Okay, to check it directly, you can use df dot. So here df is what is our data frame name, train underscore df. Then to check the shape of it, direct it as like shape. Okay, if you give the shape, it says like there is totally 891 rows and 12 columns present. This way we can able to get the row and columns of it. Okay, so I just need to check what are the columns present in the data frame. Okay, what are the headers? So these are the columns. I used to call here after columns, but if I say something as column, assume like these are the values which represent the data. So to check the columns of the data frame, use COLM as columns. Okay, so it will return an index which will contain all the columns. Okay, if I want to know the index, okay, so index is nothing but this is the index. So just want to know like what is the total index I have, start and stop index. Okay, so you can just call the train df and type as index. So it will return. So you have an index starting from 0 and ending on 891. It is increasing by 1. Okay, so our data is increasing by 1. So this way we can able to get the uh, get it. Okay, so this is about how you can read the data. So we have see how we can read and data. So this is for reading an CSV file. Okay, CSV is nothing but it is a comma separated file. So in case if you want to read an Excel file, you have to use read underscore Excel. So here we should give read underscore Excel. So since I'm using CSV, it is read underscore CSV. So it depends on the file you need to modify. So it will work with text file, CSV file, and many file operations can be done. You can check the pandas documentation to know what are the files it will support. Okay. So next we will see. So we have seen how we can head it, how we can tail it, and how we can know the shape of the data frame, and also the columns to it, and how to check the index. So index is nothing but the iterated values. Okay. And if we want to know like how many values are present in a certain columns, okay. So like this is my P class. So P class defines like how much people, what is the class of people who traveled in that ship, right? So to know the count. So for example, how many people traveled in third class, how many people traveled in first class. So to do that in pandas, what we have to do, just select the column. So here, so how to index a column is like you have to give the data frame name. Okay. So then what you have to give, you have to give the column name here. Okay. If you give both and press enter, that certain column will get generated. So the type of this will be series. Okay. Because it has only one array value, right? So which is similar to this you can see now. Okay. In this case, it will be a series, but if you see an entire data frame, the type of the data frame will be. So for example, just copy this and put it here and delete it. So if you check both the data types, like it will be series and the data frame. Okay. So we'll go to the flow. For example, I need to understand how many people are traveled between each classes. Okay, to do that, what we have to do, there is a function to do that. So type as value underscore counts. Okay, so which will give the information of how many people traveled in each class. Okay, so for example, in this data, so three people traveled. So in the third class, there are 491 people. In the first class, there is 216 people, and in the second class, there is 184 people. Okay, by this way, we can able to check the grouping of the data using value counts. Okay, it is similar to how we use pivot in Excel to do that. In pandas, we can directly do it. The next what we will do, we can describe the data. For example, if you know a bit about statistics or certain things, so whatever I may tell, maybe you can understand. If you not understand, it's okay. You can check on those later. Okay. So for example, so I put something called a description. Okay. So it will give the descriptive statistics of the data. So it will tell like count means how many count of the values present in those particular column, and what is the mean value of it. Mean is nothing but an average, and STD means standard deviation, and what is the minimum value, and what is the maximum value, and in the 25th percentile, what is the value, in the 50th percentile, what is the value, in the 75th percentile, what is the value. So this way we can able to have the things of it. Okay, describe will describes the minimum value, standard deviation. So these things will mostly use when you are doing data analysis. These are like mandatory things, right? So this way you can able to describe the data and check it quickly. Okay, so so this way we can do it. Now what we will do, we will create another data frame and check it. So to create a data frame, so I'm creating an empty data frame. Okay. So to create an empty data frame, what we have to do, uh, data frame. Okay. So to check the head of the data frame, what we have to do, like dot head, right? So this will throw an empty because there is a line you can see because we haven't added any values to the data frame. Now what we will do, we will add some value to the data frame. So I'm creating a student dictionary. Okay. So inside that dictionary, what we will do, we will create a name age. So now I have created a dictionary to convert this into data frame. Equal to pd dot data. So it throws an error like all arrays should be checked equivalent because we have three values here. It should be four. So we have now created a data frame. Okay, we have created a data frame here, right? So now use dot head. It will show the top. Am I audible? Am I
Hello.
audible?
Yeah. Now you are audible.
Okay. So this way we can able to create an empty data frame. Okay. So what we will do next? Okay. Now next we will take our data frame. Okay. Prime underscore df. We will take our data frame. So this data frame has some null values. Null values means there is no data in the data frame. Okay. So in the real world also, when we receive data from certain process or any data, there will be null value in the data. So to check how many null values are there in each columns, so we can, so this can be done in pandas. To do that, so take the data frame and put is null. Is null means is there any null value, and use the sum function to sum it. Okay. So if we do that, we can able to see there is an age column which has null value of 177. Okay. Similarly, there is a cabin info which has 687 null values, and the embracked also has two null values. Okay. So this can be do this way, or you can directly take the same thing and instead of the entire data frame, if we want to check for only one column, so pass the column name here. It can be done in either ways. Okay. Okay. So now we identify there is 177 data is about null. Okay. So usually what we do in data analysis is like, so we will perform some imputations. So imputations means like we identify there is null value. So if we remove those data, so all this 177 data will be gone. Okay. So what we can do, we can perform some imputations on this data. So instead of using null value, so we will replace that value with a certain information, like either mean can be used or mode can be used. So mean, mode, or median, both anything can be used. So I will replace this null values with the mean value. Okay. So to do that, so what we can do, I can take the age here directly. Okay. So I want to fill the null values. To fill it in pandas, you have to type fill NA. That means fill the null values. Where I should fill in the age column. Okay. How like what value? So I should get the mean of the age first. Okay. So I got the mean here. So this will fill the wherever there is a null value. This will get with the updated value. In place true means it will update the value. Okay. So if I run this code once again, age column not found because there's okay, it is a train df. Okay. Train df is our original data. Okay, now it got updated. So if we check the train df again, the age column will have certain values. Okay, so how to verify it? Like, so take the same code again and run it here. So you can see age column has a zero null value because we already replaced it with things, right? So there is no issue in the age now. Okay. Similarly, you can do for sex also. For sex, you can use mode as an imputator because the most people is there. You can replace with that. It's up to you. But again, it depends on the problem also. You have to needs to verify. Okay. So again, what we will do, we will check the head of the data. Okay, now we have the age column is imputated. There is no issue in the age. Okay. Still, we have this cabin column and embark column with some issues. We will come to that later. Okay. Now, what we will do in the data, when we pass it to any machine learning model or any intuitiveness of the training, we need to use usually the numbers, right? So here it is male and female are there. So we can represent this male and female with a certain numbers, right? So for example, I can represent the wherever the male is there, that can be represented with zero. Similarly, wherever there is a female, that can be represented with one. So I will create something called mapping dictionary. Okay. So now I will pass this into this function and update this function. Okay. Update this data frame. So to do that, what we can do, so take the column 6, then I need to map it, right? So call the map function and directly pass the map dictionary. Okay. So this will perform the updation in the data frame. So once this is updated, you can again do the head. Okay. So if you do the head, the entire data frame will not get loaded. So it will execute fastly. So in the real world, there might be billions of data, right? If you put all the entire data frame, RAM will be wiped off. So it's better to check head or tail or certain values. Okay. Now if you can see the male and female got replaced with zero and ones. Okay. So like this is zero, this is zero based on our mapping function. So this way we can able to map the values. Okay. Okay. Now what we will do, we will try to create the first name and last name. So the data which we got is have certain values in the form of this, right? So now what we will do, we will try to create first name and the last name from the given data. So what we can do again, so it is like adding a new column. Okay, now we have only 9 columns, I guess. There is 12 columns, but we will add another 2 columns like first name and last name. So to create a new column, so what we have to do, so this would be my column name. Whenever creating a column name, don't give a space between the columns, use underscore for better code. So train df is equal to this, and here we will take the name column. So in the name column, what we will do, we will use a lambda function. Okay. So apply is a function which will perform the operation. So lambda is a function in Python. Okay, which will take an input and perform the operation. Okay. Then it will take x as an input and perform the operations. Okay, x dot split. If you see the date, the name column, right? So what you can do, So this is like this, right? So the first is the first name, and the second is the last name, I guess. So, sorry, this is the first name, and this is the last name. Okay. So if we want to get it, we have to split it by comma and take the zeroth value is the first value is the first name, and the first this value as the last name, right? So that is the thing I'm doing. I'm going to split it by comma here. Okay. Then take the first value. So that will go as my last name. Okay. So this is my last name. So this goes here. So just copy the same code here again. Instead of last name, change it to first name. And here, instead of this one, take whatever after one. So we have opened a bracket. So we need to close it. Okay. So now what we will do, we will again check the head of the data frame. Now we should have another two columns. So we got the last name correctly, but the first name what we created have some list here. Okay. So what we can do? Okay. So now we have the first name and the last name and the name. Okay. This is how we can create an other column. So for example, in certain data sets, we need to combine two, three columns and perform some mathematical operations and create a new column, right? This way you can use apply and lambda function. So lambda, which is a function which accepts one value. So lambda, I will explain. So this is the syntax of the lambda function, okay, which take one or multiple arguments. So you have to call the keyword lambda, and this is the input, okay. So this is the output what it should perform. So lambda argument and the function. So this mostly in interviews people will ask what is lambda function, okay. So if you see here, this is to perform an multiplication square. So lambda is a keyword and a is there, that is an input, and it will do a into a. Okay, this is a function to perform a single operation. In a one line you can write a function instead of calling def function that way. So straightforwardly you can use this lambda. So mostly in interviews it will be asked. Okay. Any questions up to here? Any questions up to here? Any questions? Please type in chat box. Any questions? Yes or no? So this way you can create a, data frame, right? So again, I have to show how we can create a new data frame. Okay. So what we will do, whenever there is a p class is set to uh, 3, and if he is a male, then we will create a new column and make that as a 1. Okay. So to do that, so I will create a train underscore df. So what I'm going to do is like, if the passenger class is 3 and if he is a male, okay, male is 0, then I will add a column called new column. In that column, I will set those values as 1, okay. In case if he is a male, okay. So we will see how this can, sorry, we'll set it as, yeah. So we will see how this can be done. So df train, so he should be third and it should be min. Okay, he should be third class and if it is min. So to do that, what we can do, again we will take the data frame, train underscore df, use dot apply function, then use the lambda. Okay. So here we will take the rows. Okay, it should be executed row by row. Okay, to do that, type as row here. Okay, so take the int because we have to check the condition true or false, boolean condition, right? So we have to check if the row of the p class it should be equal to 3, that is third class, and the passenger should be male, right? Equal to 0. Okay. So this way you can able to write a conditions in conditions also. So if we do this, it is able to, once again, let's confirm the code. Here is open bracket. Okay, it is closed here. And where I should do this, I should do on the axis one. Axis one is nothing but it will perform on the axis. Okay. So if I again check the head of it, so I got 1 here. Okay. Why I got 1 means if the passenger class is 0, okay, and 3, and if he is a male, I will get 1. Okay. If the similarly, if the passenger class is 1, and if it is female, and then it will become 0. Okay. So if I want to get all the 1 values, what I have to do? So take this column again, open the data frame, then again take this third man C min. Okay. I want to get only the wherever the value is 1. Okay, just run it. So we will get all the mins, total number of mins traveled in third class. So totally there are 347 mins who traveled in the first class. Okay, third class. Okay, this way we can check the conditions, filters also. Okay. So we have checked the lambda functions to use how we can perform internal operations. Okay, now we will see how we can write our own custom functions and call the functions. Okay. So what I will do, if someone is less than 18, I will call them as a first age group. If someone is below 18 to 40, I will make those guys as a second age group. If someone is more than between 40 to 60, third age group. If it is more than 60, then they will go in the fourth age group. Okay. So we will write a function and apply this function. Okay. So we'll find the age group. Okay. So I need an input of number. Then if condition, if age less than 18, we need to return 1. Okay. And if the age and age should be less than or equal to 40. Okay. Return 2. If age be greater than 40 and age less than 60, return 3. In case if they are more than 60, make them in fourth group. Okay. So we have wrote a function. Okay. Verify this. Okay. We'll test this function once. The code is working. So to apply this function into a new data frame, so we'll create a column called age group. and the input data would be age. So we'll use apply again, and here we will use the lambda again. Then x is the input variable, and where it should get passed, it should be passed to this function, find age group. Here we should, instead of age, we should pass the x. Okay. So if we check the head of it, if you see if the age is 22, he belongs to age group 2, right? So similarly, this got updated. Now we will see how we can delete a column in pandas. Okay. So like I just don't need this passenger ID because that is just a duplicate ID. Index and passengers IDs are same, right? To delete a data frame column in the data frame, so we have to use drop. Okay, drop. So, so see, I am just defining a value and deleting. If you delete it without defining a value, it will just directly delete it. So make sure it is passed and created a variable. Then dot, it should be drop. Okay, inside drop, we have to give the column name and axis equal to 1 means we are referring this axis. Cannot come. Okay, I kept a dot there, so that's there. If you see now, this ID will get deleted. Passenger ID will not be there. So this way you can delete an ID from the data frame. Okay. So next we will see how we can rename these columns in the data frame. Okay. For example, I just want to change this sex to gender and this name to full name. And okay, so if I want to do that, what I can do, okay, first I will change the sex to gender. Second, we need to create a map for that. Okay, name mapping. In this, first is like the actual value. The next is the new value what we are going to.
Fisher, I think your voice is breaking.
Okay. How about now?
Yeah, okay, but
Okay.
there's something.
So then again we will have the name here. So this name we will convert this into something called as full name. Okay. So now we have created a name mapping. We just need to put this mapping into the data frame. Do that. Equal to train df dot. So what we are trying to do is rename, right? Just call the function rename, and inside that, so what you have to do, you have to modify the column names. So where is the column mapped? Name underscore mapping. So if you do this, so now you can see this name got changed to full name. Similarly, the gender also got changed. Okay, so this way we can rename the columns in the data frame. You can try for other columns also. Okay. Next, we will see about slicing the data frame. So slicing we already saw. So wherever the data is 3, we will try to delete those people. Okay. For example, so I will make a copy of the data. To make the copy of the data frame, so I will create df.copy and train underscore df.copy. Okay. If you didn't use that copy, the source data frame will get deleted. Okay. Make sure copy is used to copy the data frame. And now df.copy is here. Okay. So now we have the data. Okay. So if I want to delete the rows wherever it is 3, so this can be done by all the rows will get deleted where the passenger class is 3. Okay. So this can be done using df underscore copy. Uh, Again, you have to get the p class is equal to 3. So wherever it is 3, you have to reset underscore index, then drop equal to true. Okay. And this is so now, sorry, this will keep the all the things which is ever 3. Okay. So you have to use not equal to delete whichever is away from the 3. Okay. All the rows with 3 will be present here if you use the slice. And yeah, that's correct. So similarly, you can use get also. So to do get, for example, if I want to get the people who's below this age and that age, so the code is same, df copy, then take the age column. So age, like I just need to check between 60 to do an get, open bracket, close bracket. Then I need to it. Again, copy this part to this area. You can use rget, narget, so based on your wish. And less than greater than. There is some issue. Df dot the truth value is empty. Df column is copied. Age less than 60 is less than 60 is working. Okay. So I have used and here. And is not working. I will check on why it is not working. So this way you can use multiple gate operations between the. These are called as slices normally. Okay. If I want to select only 3 columns in the data frame, what I can do. So first I will get the columns of the data frame. Df dot columns. I just need this full name and gender and age. Okay. So to do that, what I can do df underscore copy, then two brackets and paste it. So only 3 data frame columns will get selected instead of all data. Okay. So this way you can able to get the data frames. Hmm? So if I want to select the numerical columns of the data frame, so I can do that with the data type selections. So for example, what are the numerics we have? So we have like int 16-bit int it is. Like next we have 32-bit. So next we have 64-bit int. Then we have float 16. Then we have float 32. Then float 64. But there are many, but we will check if there is anything matched with the certain things we got it. So again, take this df copy. So this way is like slicing with respect to data type. Okay, we have to mention select data types. So and the input for the select data type is like include equal to what is the data type I need, numerics. Whatever present in numerics will be included. Okay, now if you run this, the data frame, whichever in this formats will get selected. Rest all will get ignored. So the string and all got ignored, right? So this way we can able to get there. So to get the string also, in pandas it is not called as string, it is called as an object. Okay, we can put object here. If you put object under it, it will come. So here if you see, so So this is all object. Okay, this value is already in object. Okay, so to get the data types of data frame, you have to use dot info. This will give like what is the data type of each column. Okay. Any questions on up to here? Any questions? Hello. Any questions? Am I audible? Any questions? You guys have?
Hey guys, if you have any doubts, say yes or no.
We should go on video, I guess, for next time. Okay. So pandas is like uh, learning pandas in one day is hard. So I will take the remaining in tomorrow's class, but I will iterate whatever I have told till now. So you can use read CSV to read a data frame, and to check the number of top number of rows in the data frame, you can use a head. To see whatever it is on the down, you can use a tail. Shape is to define the structure of the data frame, like how many rows and columns are there. Columns is used to know what are the columns present in the data frame. Index is to know how many total indexes there and how it is getting moved. And to know the type of the data frame type, then you pass the input to it. So to get the value counts means it will tell how many values present in a column. So describe is to know the basic statistics like mean, median, mode, and standard deviation, and the quartiles actually 25, 50, and 75 quartiles. You can convert a structure dictionary into a data frame and pass it into df.data frame. Here f is caps, okay, and the values of each data frame should be in a equal length. Okay, you cannot have a data frame unequal way, so make sure it is equal. And to check the null of the data frame, e is null, and sum is to count those values. If you use just e is null, it will just print the null values, okay, as true or false. Similarly, to fill the values of a null, fill an a. This is called as imputations. Okay, this is called as imputations. So this is called as imputations in machine learning. Like most of the cases we used to do. So imputation is like handling the missing values. Maybe if you apply for any machine learning roles, they might ask this question. One way of doing the mean imputation, so we have see that also. So this way you can able to remap the values of the data frame, create a dictionary map, then call the map function and map it. Then we saw about lambda functions. So lambda accepts one input and a function. Instead of writing a long function, lambda is used to write a function in a single line. So also you can perform AND operations or operations and pass the output to a data frame. And we have seen how we can create a data frame, a custom function, and apply that into a data frame. So that also we have seen. Apart from that, we have seen how we can drop a row in the data frame using drop. So we can rename this column values. And we have seen how we can take a copy of the data frame. So whenever performing the info, so axis one is nothing but we are referring this axis. Okay, sometimes there will it is axis 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you didn't mention the axis, it will just randomly remove some value. So it is better to mention the axis and delete a value when you are mentioning an axis. Okay. So it is like an axis, just an axis value. So only it is like a row, first row of the axis. So it is better to mention axis. So if you remove this axis and run also code will execute, but in certain cases it will remove the data frame. So whenever dropping a data frame, mention as axis one so that it will check on this axis for the row. And we have seen about renaming. So renaming the columns, you have to similarly create a map function in a dictionary format and map it here. Then also we have seen how we can index it, slice it. So with respect to certain values in the data frame and how to use AND gate and OR gates. So how to select multiple columns in a data frame. To select multiple columns, you have to use two square brackets, okay, instead of one. And we have seen how we can select numerical values. So these are the data types which supports in pandas data frame. So in pandas, we don't call the string as strings. It is called as an object in the data frame. And to check the info of the entire data frame, info can be used. Okay, df.info. Any questions? So I will upload this part of cheat sheet also. So once I covered tomorrow's class, all this will get covered. So you can check it. So mostly certain things we covered it already. That will be here. If you're interested, read it actually. So this would be enough to learn pandas to start it. So this also we will update in the LMS. So if any questions, any questions? Also, we need to have something on the assessment actually.